Chapter 25, Dump Her Ass. Brooke pulls into Stephanie's driveway. She's in the driver's seat watching Stephanie, who is in the passenger's seat, carefully. After Steph dropped the most shocking news of the year, she walked ahead and got to Brooke's car. It took a few seconds for Brooke to get herself and her stuff together before following her. She met Steph leaning on the passenger side with a distant look on her face. She had unlocked her car and they both got in. There was this awkward kind of silence, and Brooke watched Steph, who was looking out the window. Brooke took a deep breath and started the car. Throughout the ride, Brooke kept giving Steph glances, waiting patiently for Steph to speak, but she didn't say even a word. Now, she's parked in Steph's driveway, watching her carefully. After a few agonizing seconds, Steph steps out with her backpack, heading into the house, her movements almost robotic. Brooke watches her in confusion, her eyes following her movements until she enters the house. Brooke shakes her head slightly and gets out of the car, following Steph's trail. So she expects me to go without getting the juicy details? Brooke huffs to herself as she lets herself into the house. She walks down the little hallway and goes into the living room. She doesn't see Steph in the room but finds her backpack on a couch. Steph walks into the living room with a tub of chocolate ice cream and a spoon. She halts her steps and stares at Brooke. "What are you doing here?" Steph questions, making her way to the couch. "You didn't really expect me to leave without getting the juicy details. You should know me way better than that." Brooke huffs. Stephanie sighs, finding it hard to believe that she does like Luke. She had all the time to ponder on it at school, and she solved the mystery. That explains all the weird things she has been feeling since Saturday. Maybe she knew but didn't just want to admit it to herself. "So? What? Did I just hear you say you like Luke?" Brooke inclines. "Yeah," Steph nods. "I think I did." "Wait. Give me a minute," Brooke says and runs into the kitchen. She comes back with a spoon in hand. "What's that for?" Steph raises an eyebrow. "For the ice cream, dummy." Brooke rolls her eyes and sits beside her. Brooke scoops ice cream from the tub in Steph's hand and earns a glare from her. "So the details." Brooke ignores her glare without missing a beat. "I'd love to know how you dashed." She points her spoon at her. "Stephanie, like Luke. Luke poisoned Ivy's boyfriend." "I know who he is, you don't have to point it out." Steph scoffs. "Why do I feel like you're trying to avoid this topic?" Brooke narrows her eyes and purses her lips. "Maybe because I'm still processing the information in my head, so I'm not ready to talk about it." "Start talking," Brooke demands in a gruff voice. "I like Luke," Steph deadpans. "Are you sure?" "I've liked boys before. I know what it feels like," Steph snaps. "Easy there, baby girl. So when did the butterflies start disturbing your belly?" Steph looks at her weirdly but answers anyway. "Today. When you walked into class and smiled at me this morning, I felt the butterflies, B. On Saturday, at the amusement park, when you and Cole went wherever, we talked and I found myself noticing some things about him. I got fascinated by the way he talks, his smile, his beautiful laugh, and..." Steph trails off, realizing she sounds like a lovesick idiot. "Oh, how I love this version of you," Brooke babbles, wiggling her eyebrows. "I do not," Steph snorts. "She sounds like Brody. Luke is nice, cool, and good-looking. And the best part is that he's Cole's best friend. I would ship you guys and say it's a match made in heaven, but there's a big problem. He is Ivy's boyfriend." Brooke completes her statement softly. "I know that, and I'm not looking for a boyfriend. The fact that I like him doesn't mean I want to date him," Steph scoffs and then shoves a spoon of ice cream into her mouth. "So you're gonna keep talking to him and acting normal? Can you pull that off?" "I doubt that." "I'll try," Steph replies. "And you said Ivy threatened you?" Brooke asks about the second important thing. The crush part was just more eminent than this, so it needed to be discussed first. "Yeah, she did. It was crazy. Someone must have seen us at the park on Saturday and told her. Or she saw us herself," Steph muses. "That bitch!" Brooke seethes. "I don't know what Luke sees in her." "Ugh." Steph shrugs. So what are you gonna do? Try my best to stay away from Luke, Steph replies. No, you won't. She's insecure. Ivy's insecure. She knows Luke would dump her ass for you, that's why she wants you to stay away from him. And you won't. You do exactly the opposite so that it will happen, Brooke says with determination. That's quite a theory you have there. Steph clicks her tongue. But Brooke, I'm not you and you are not me. You love drama, I know you do, but I don't. I do not want any more drama in my life. I already have enough on my plate. So what would you tell Luke when he asks you? Brooke raises a brow. He wouldn't notice, Steph retorts. Brooke raises her free hand. Whatever you say. Steph's phone vibrates as she gets a text. She checks it and finds that it's from Luke. Speak of the devil. She mutters to herself and Broken hears. Luke? Yeah. What does it say? He's asking about the homework we were given in class. Steph answers. Brooke picks up the remote and switches on the TV. I've been waiting for you to like Chris, but you just had to mess things up by liking Luke. Brooke whispers. Chris parks in the driveway and kills the engine. He and Jason get out of the car together and head into the house. Is your mom home? Jason asks. She should be. She picked up Emily today, Chris answers. Emily, Jason smiles. He really likes her, but doesn't that come naturally? Emily makes him yearn for a little sister of his own. As soon as they step into the house, Chris calls out, "Hello, family." They find no one in the living room, so Chris assumes they're probably upstairs. Chris, Emily yells happily as she takes almost hasty steps carefully down the stairs. She hugs Chris and after, notices Jason. Jason, she says and hugs him too. He chuckles. Hey, Munchkin. How are you? He ruffles her hair and she swats his hand away. I'm okay. Why haven't you been coming to visit? She asks. I'm sorry. I've been busy. Jason smiles as they move to sit on a couch. Chris, who has been watching them with a smile, drops his backpack and decides to find his mom. He sees his mom descending the stairs as he turns to go up. Hey, Mom. He smiles and gives her a peck on her cheek. Welcome, honey. How was school? His mom asks. Chris shrugs. Normal. Jason's here. Oh, that's a surprise. She exclaims. Jason, she calls and he turns in the direction of her voice. Hello, Kate. Jason smiles as he stands to his feet. She smiles at him. It's been a while since you last visited. Blame it all on senior year, it's keeping me busy. Jason chuckles. I know. It's nice to see you again though. Kate chuckles too. It's nice to be here. Let's go to my room. Chris tells Jason as he picks up his backpack. Jason ruffles Emily's hair again before following Chris. You boys should come down soon, okay? I'm ordering pizza, Kate calls after them. With extra cheese, Kate? Jason says. Sure. Kate chuckles. Jason shuts the door to Chris' room after entering. So what's up? Chris asks as he sits at his study desk, dropping the backpack on the desk. Well, Jason sits on his bed. Haley broke up with me. What? When? Why? Chris exclaims with wide eyes. On Friday after school. Jason replies. And you're just telling me? Chris gapes. Jason shrugs. She broke up with me because she likes someone else. How are you so calm about this? Chris inquires, raising his eyebrows. I've had 3 days to come to terms with it. I really liked her and it still hurts, but what can I do? Jason asks rhetorically with a shrug. I'm sorry, dude. Chris mumbles. It's not your fault. Jason lays on the bed and stares at the ceiling. So she said she likes someone else? Yeah. Did she tell you who? Nope. It's better that way, and I think she did the right thing, Chris states. Jason has no response to that. After about a minute of silence, Chris' phone begins to ring. He pulls it out of his pocket and a frown appears on his face when he sees the caller ID. Piper. Fuck you, man, he bellows. Why did you have to give her my number? Jason catches on to who he is referring to. She's the one calling? Chris doesn't answer because the answer is pretty obvious. Maybe she's really after Chris and she's being nice to him to use him to get to Chris, Jason thinks. And he feels somehow about that. Just answer it, Jason urges him. Chris does. Hello, Piper, he says with fake enthusiasm. Chris, hi. How are you? Piper asks. I'm all right. You? He glares at Jason, who is sitting up now. I'm great, she answers. So what's up? Chris couldn't stop himself from asking. Well, I was wondering. She trails off and Chris pinches the bridge of his nose, having the feeling that she wants to ask him out on a date. He would strangle Jason if that happens. He got him into this mess. Can I get Jason's number? She finally requests. What? Piper sighs. Can I get Jason's number? She voices each word slowly as if talking to a toddler. Sure. I'll text it to you. He smiles in amusement and Jason notices. Chris sure wasn't expecting that. Thank you so much. I'll be waiting, Piper replies. You're welcome. Bye. She ends the call. Chris stares at his phone before facing Jason. What did she say? Jason questions. Chris grins. She needs your phone number. Jason smiles, having no idea why that information gives him a little joy. Chris gives him a suspicious look. Is there something you're not telling me? Chapter 26, Acting Strange. It's Thursday and school's just starting. Brooke and Stephanie get into the school and head for Brooke's locker. Steph waits for her as Brooke gets her notes for class. There's a party this weekend, Brooke announces. Wow, that's cool, but guess what? Steph says dryly. I don't care. Sure you don't, but you're going. We are going, Brooke declares. Good luck with that. Steph huffs. What if I get Luke to make you come? Huh? Brooke wiggles her eyebrows suggestively with a smirk. Not gonna happen, Steph says with a gloomy sigh. She has been trying to avoid Luke, but it isn't exactly working. He makes conversation whenever he sees her, and that makes it difficult. On the good days that she's succeeding in avoiding him, she'll get this ache in her that she'll want to see him even if it's just his face. If she hears his voice, butterflies flutter in her stomach. All this trying to avoid him seems to make her want to spend more time with him. And it's frustrating. Hey girls. Chris joins them with a grin on his face. Hi. They answer in unison. Let's get to class, Hazel. We'll need to stop at my locker first. Steph replies him. Okay. They've been talking since the week started and you could say they're a little closer. She isn't being difficult to him and he's being himself. Steph sees him as an acquaintance now, not a friend yet. She hasn't forgotten that he's the infamous player. Brooke is really happy that they're getting close and she always makes sure to mention it to her. Steph doesn't know why she's happy about it though. Steph sights Luke and Cole approaching them. She stares at his gorgeous face as he laughs at what Cole's telling him before she decides to panic. Before she can think of how to escape, they are already here. Cole hugs Brooke and Luke greet Steph. After exchanging pleasantries, the boys notice Chris, who is standing with a blank look on his face, showing no emotion. Chris acknowledges them with a subtle nod and they return it. Some sort of message passed across. There is an awkward silence before Steph decides to break it. Christopher and I need to get to class, Steph says. See you all later. She turns around and walks away with Chris beside her. Luke asks Brooke, Is something wrong? She has been acting strange lately. Brooke chuckles in amusement. Oh, trust me, nothing is wrong. She's like this sometimes. Just ignore it. Luke shrugs. Cole clears his throat and takes Brooke's hands in his. So would you like to go on a date with me tomorrow? Really? Yeah. If you want to, Cole answers. Took you long enough, Brooke huffs with a smile and hits his chest playfully. Oh really? Cole smirks and winks at her. Brooke gives out a boisterous laugh before Luke decides to clear his throat, therefore ruining the moment. They turn to face him. Let's get to class, you lovesick morons. Luke teases softly and turns to walk away without waiting for them. Cole and Brooke share a laugh before following his trail. Why do I feel like you're avoiding one of those jocks? Chris asks Stephanie with a raised eyebrow as they arrive at her locker. What makes you think that? Steph asks with an awkward laugh. I don't know. Chris shrugs. Apart from the fact that you left in a hurry and you're avoiding eye contact right now. That doesn't prove anything. I'm not avoiding any of them. Steph denies. You're terrible at lying, but because I'm a nice guy, I'll drop the subject. Chris says with a tongue click. Steph lets out a breath she didn't even know she was holding. She gets what she needs from her locker and they begin to head to their first class. Steph notices the stares, or rather glares, sent her way. She has been getting a lot of them lately. Can you remind me again why you're talking to me? Steph asks quizzically. Chris grins. Because we're friends. No. We are not. Steph deadpans. Fine. We're about to become friends. Chris tells her. She doesn't say anything to that. Why'd you ask? Because people are wondering the same thing and won't stop staring. Steph mutters. Wow. Chris feigns shock. That means we're famous. You should be happy. Unlike you, I don't like that type of attention. She specifies. You would just have to get used to it, Hazel. Very soon, we'll have our very own reality TV show. I can see it already. Chris waves a hand in front of his face dramatically. Okay, weirdo. Steph says dryly just as they walk into their maths class. Stephanie takes a seat and Chris takes the one beside her. They settle down before Chris speaks again. Hey, Hazel. She answers as she brings out her notebook for class. Why do plants hate math? Chris asks her. She pauses and turns to look at him, giving him a puzzled look. Huh? Why do plants hate math? He reiterates. She stares at him, but the look on his face doesn't falter. I don't know, she shrugs. Why don't we go and ask one outside? Chris chuckles. It's because it gives them square roots. Seriously? She deadpans. Math joke? He grins with a nod. Wanna hear another one? No, she answers flatly. What do you call an angle that is adorable? Steph sighs and pretends not to be interested, but she's mentally thinking about the answer. When she doesn't answer for some seconds, Chris does. Acute angle. What do you call dudes who love math? You mean dudes like you? Steph turns to give him a smirk. It's algebros. Get it? Alge, brothers. I get it. Steph snaps. You're an algebro. She adds with a simper. Chris ignores her and goes on. Why do they never serve beer at a math party? I don't know, Steph groans. Because you can't drink and derive. He stresses the last word and Steph smiles. She shakes her head. You're something. What did? Steph interrupts him with a glare. One more joke and I'm gonna find myself another seat away from you. Is it just me or are Mrs. Green's lessons boring? Chris asks as they exit their last class for the day. I think it's the same for everyone. Didn't you see their faces? Steph says. Chris stops walking as they get to a corner. I have to get to practice. I'll see you later. Okay. Steph answers and then proceeds to find Brooke, and when she does, they head to Brooke's car together. Where do you think he'll take me? Brooke asks as she buckles her seatbelt. How would I know? Steph questions bemusedly. The date is long overdue. Then she mutters under her breath, turtle couple. I don't know. If there's anyone you should ask that question, it would be Luke. They're best friends after all. I barely know anything about Cole. You don't because you don't care. You're too busy thinking about Luke or devouring his gorgeous profile when we're with them, Brooke teases with a smile. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. I'm usually thinking about how I ended up having a crush on him when we were together. Stephanie ends her statement with a shudder. And Brooke laughs at her expense. Just drive. Steph groans. A few minutes later, Brooke pulls onto Steph's driveway and stops the engine. They sit in silence for a few seconds. No one is home, right? Yeah, Steph affirms. Wanna come in? Sure. Brooke replies, and they step out of the car together. Steph unlocks the front door and they head to the living room and sit on different couches. Luke noticed you're acting strange around him. Brooke discloses. How do you know that? Steph gives her a bewildered look. He asked me why you're acting strange this morning. Brooke deadpans. Oh, crap. He isn't supposed to notice, Steph whines. Yeah, sure, Brooke says with a hint of sarcasm. This is not good, Steph says in a small panicky voice. She stands and begins to pace in the room, running her hands through her shoulder-length hair. Aha, Brooke follows her movement with her eyes. What do I do? I don't know, maybe you should stop crushing on him and like Chris instead, Brooke suggests in a casual tone as if it's that simple. You know that is not possible, and would you please stop? Steph halts her steps. About this Chris stuff. I'll never like him in that way. We'll see about that, Brooke says as she pulls out her phone. Steph takes a deep breath and goes back to her seat. Speaking of Chris, are you still babysitting his little sister? Yeah, I almost forgot. I have to go over soon and… She trails off as a frown appears on her face. What? I'll have to take a cab, Steph sighs. I can give you a ride, Brooke offers. Really? Sure. Thank you so much. I'll be right back. Do you want something to drink? Steph asks, heading for the kitchen. Nope, I'm okay. Steph comes back to the living room after quenching her thirst. So me. Brooke points a finger at herself. You. She points at Steph. Party. We're going. Steph laughs. I'm not going to any party, cavewoman. You will, I promise. Sure, Steph snorts. I went to a party about 3 weeks ago and you expect me to go to another one again? No way. Have you forgotten what happened that night? I kissed Christopher the playboy. Yeah, and you guys are friends now. Brooke smirks. He's not my friend yet. He's an acquaintance. Steph retorts. No problems. I made you go to that party and I'll make you go to this one. Some people party every week and you're here complaining about 3 weeks gap. You'll go to this party and then the Halloween party Jason is probably going to throw this month. Good luck with that, Steph scoffs, flipping her bird. Oh, I don't need luck, Brooke says with a wicked smirk. I've got all I need. There is silence as Steph wonders what Brooke's plan is. I need to get to Christopher's house now. Sure, I'll take you, Brooke says cheerfully. Chapter 27, Old Lady. Thanks for the ride, Stephanie says to Brooke as she alights in front of Chris' house. You're welcome. Say hi to Chris. Brooke replies and drives away. Stephanie walks onto the porch and rings the doorbell. Kate opens the door with a huge smile on her face. Stephanie, welcome. Come on in. She opens the door wider for her to come in. Thank you. How are you? Your family? Everything? Kate asks with a beam. Great. Everything's going great. Ever since Steph first babysat Emily, Kate has been acting all nice and extra sweet to her, and it's kinda strange to her. That's good to hear. She smiles before yelling. Emily, Stephanie's here. Really? Emily's voice comes from upstairs. Some seconds later, she's running down the stairs and jumps into Steph's arms. Kate smiles at the sight. Emily likes her babysitter, who would most likely end up being Christopher's girlfriend. Stephanie! Emily giggles. Emily! Steph smiles and squeezes both her cheeks playfully. Okay, let me get my handbag and leave you two to it, Kate tells them and walks away. Emily pulls Steph by her hand and makes her sit on the couch before settling beside her. Can you help me with my maths homework? Sure. Go and get it, Steph smiles. Yay! Emily says and runs upstairs. She comes back down with her cute Frozen backpack. Steph chuckles. You really like Frozen, don't you? I do, Emily answers as she brings out her math homework from her backpack. Okay. Girls. I'm heading out, but I'll probably be back soon. Emily, be on your best behavior, okay? Kate says as she walks back into the living room. Okay, Mom. Bye. See you later, Stephanie. Kate tells her and walks out of the house. Let's begin, shall we? Steph begins to help Emily with her homework. About an hour and 30 minutes after school ended, Chris heads home after having a quick chat with Jason. He parks his car with a smile on his face when he gets home. Hazel is in the house. The thought alone makes him happy. Emily's in too. He walks into the house and finds them in their usual spot on one of the couches. Emily turns around at the sound of the door and smiles at the sight of her big brother. Chris. Welcome back, Emily says, but doesn't move to hug him. And Chris finds it strange. Steph helped me with my homework, Emily tells him, still in the same position on the couch. Wow. Less work for me then, Chris says in a casual tone. Then he acknowledges Stephanie. Hazel. He nods at her. How was practice? She asks. Normal. Chris shrugs. He stops himself from smiling at the fact that she asked him about practice. Thanks for helping Em with her homework. It was nothing, Steph remarks. Chris smiles and heads into the kitchen. Would you like something to drink, Hazel? He asks. Sure. I'm okay with anything, thanks, Steph replies. Emily stares at her. She knows that something has changed between her brother and her babysitter. Steph isn't acting like she hates her brother anymore, and she didn't complain when he called her Hazel. They're acting like friends now, and Emily is happy about it. Steph catches her staring. What's wrong? Nothing, Emily smiles. I can see you don't hate my brother anymore. Hey! Steph exclaims. I never said I hated him. But you like him. No. I do not. Steph huffs. If that happens, she'll feel like her heart betrayed her. Chris walks back in with a can of Pepsi for Steph and an apple in the other hand. He hands Steph the drink and she thanks him, then he bites into the apple. So are you going to the party on Saturday? Chris asks as he sits on another couch. His question takes Stephanie's mind to her last party when she kissed Chris in that game, and she feels weird because he's right in front of her. No, I'm not. Why? Because I don't want to. Chris smirks. Not your scene. Huh? Yeah. Steph drawls. Okay, he smiles. He was damn right. Something must have made her come to Jason's party that time they kissed. That kiss, Chris thinks and takes a deep breath. If care isn't taken, he might find himself crashing her lips with his. At that thought, he stands and heads to his room without uttering another word. Okay, I should get going, Steph announces after Chris comes back to the living room. Ah, Emily pouts. Want me to drive you home? Chris offers. The front door opens, cutting Steph off. They look to see Kate walk in. Hey, people! Mama's back, she declares as she shuts the door, her back to them. Oh, hi Stephanie, you're still here? Kate asks rhetorically when she sees her. Yeah, I was just leaving. Steph replies. Why don't you stay for dinner, dear? Kate asks with a broad smile. Yes. Emily exclaims, then takes one of Steph's hands in both of hers. Please stay. Steph shifts her gaze to Chris and he shrugs. Sure. I'll stay for dinner. Steph accepts. Yay. Why don't you sit and feel at home while I start dinner? Kate suggests. Is there anything I can help with? Steph asks. No, no, no. Kate waves her off. Just get comfy. Okay, ma'am. Hey! It's Kate. You're making me feel like an old lady, Kate mutters with a chuckle. Ain't you? Chris finally speaks with a chuckle of his own. You! Kate narrows her eyes at her son. You'll help make dinner because of that. But I hate cooking. Chris whines. That's none of my business, young man. Get ready. I'll meet you in the kitchen. I need to get out of this outfit, Kate says and heads upstairs. She stops. Hey, Steph. Do you have any allergies? Just pineapple. Steph answers. Okay. Then she says to Chris. Get into that kitchen. Chris mumbles under his breath and drags himself to the kitchen, which makes Steph and Emily giggle. Do you want to see Chris' baby pictures? Emily beams. I'd love to. Steph smirks. I'd be right back. Emily tells her and leaves to get it. Who knew I'd have dinner in Christopher Hayes' house one day, huh? She asks herself. Good morning. Steph freezes on hearing that voice. They're currently at her locker and it's a Friday morning. She's getting notes for class. Hey Luke, Cole. Brooke says to them with a smile. Aw, geez. Stephanie shuts her locker, takes a deep breath, and turns around. Her heart flutters at the sight of Luke. Hi. She forces the word out of her mouth. Luke smiles at her and she returns it, trying her best not to give anything away. He's already suspicious. So are you girls going to the party tomorrow? Luke shifts his gaze to Brooke. Of course, I'm going. I wouldn't miss it, but I don't know about. Brooke gestures in Steph's direction. Her. You aren't going? Cole gapes. No, Steph shakes her head. Why? Not my scene. Steph shrugs. You can't be serious right now. Brooke groans. I'm serious. Steph mumbles, feeling slightly uncomfortable under Luke's gaze. Come on, Steph. You have to go. We're all going. Luke encourages her. I don't want to. Steph whines. Please? Luke pleads and rests a hand on her shoulder as if in assurance. She's starting to cave and she doesn't want to. She looks away from Luke's face to Brooke's and sees a smug look on Brooke's face. Brooke knows that she's about to cave and she's happy about that. First, it was a threat and now she's using her crush to make her go to a party. Fine, I'll go. Steph caves with a sigh. Told ya. Brooke says smugly. Steph glowers at her. Told her what? Cole asks. I told her that. Stephanie doesn't know when she takes 2 steps forward and her hand covers Brooke's mouth, muffling what she was about to say. Luke and Cole exchange a look and stare at them in bewilderment. Why did you do that? Luke finds himself asking. Nothing, Steph replies almost immediately, making the boys furrow their foreheads. No reason at all. I think she forgot to take her medicine this morning. She has been saying a lot of weird things today. Steph says a little too fast and with a sheepish smile. Brooke narrows her eyes at Steph's explanation and tries to pry away the hand covering her mouth, but Steph doesn't let her. Ha! Cole says and looks at Steph in askance. Brooke manages to pry the hand from her mouth. We have to get to class. See you later, guys. Steph blurts and drags Brooke with her without waiting for the boys to say anything. What was that for? Brooke bellows when they turn into another hallway and Steph lets go of her hand. What were you trying to do? Steph retorts. Wait, you thought I was going to say you like him? Weren't you? Steph asks. I can't believe you'd think that. Brooke facepalms. Can you blame me? You tend to say a lot of crap, especially when you're excited. Steph asserts. Brooke narrows her eyes and shakes her head slowly before giving Steph a little punch on the arm. Hey! What was that for? Steph's other arm moves to soothe the slight pain in the other. For thinking I'd do that to you and for saying that bullshit you said. Brooke tells her. I'm sorry, B. I just freaked out. Steph explains. Cole would think I have some sort of mental illness now. Brooke sighs. Steph giggles. You think this is funny? Brooke scoffs and eyes her friend. I'm going to class, bitch. Love you too, B. Steph calls after her as she walks off. Steph heads to her first class and finds Chris already seated. Hello, Hazel. He smirks. Christopher. She returns the smirk as she takes her seat.